World War I was a global conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. It was a war that involved more than 70 million military personnel, including 60 million Europeans, making it one of the largest wars in history. It raged from 1914 to 1918, spanning 4 long years of relentless combat and suffering, leaving millions dead and reshaping the political map of Europe. The war caused the downfall of empires, including the German, Russian, Ottoman, and Austro-Hungarian empires. The war's causes were complex and interconnected, stemming from a tangled web of alliances, rampant militarism, fervent nationalism, and a fateful assassination. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo was the spark that ignited this powder keg. Understanding these factors is crucial to comprehending the outbreak and the devastating consequences of this global conflict. The intricate alliances meant that a conflict between two countries could quickly involve others, leading to a full-scale war. The war's outbreak shocked the world. People were unprepared for the scale of the conflict that was to come. Many believed that a major war was impossible in the modern age. They thought that the interconnected economies and diplomatic relations would prevent such a catastrophe. They thought reason and diplomacy would prevail. However, the reality proved to be starkly different. However, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, shattered this illusion. The event triggered a series of political maneuvers and military mobilizations. This event, seemingly insignificant at first, would set in motion a chain reaction leading to global war. The alliances and treaties pulled one nation after another into the conflict. The world watched in horror as Europe, previously a beacon of progress and civilization, descended into chaos and violence. The war brought unprecedented destruction and suffering to millions of people. The Great War, as it was then known, would forever alter the course of human history. It changed the geopolitical landscape and set the stage for many of the conflicts that would follow in the 20th century. At the heart of the tensions leading to World War I was a complex system of alliances that divided Europe into 2 armed camps. These alliances were meant to create a balance of power and deter any single nation from becoming too dominant. However, they also created a fragile and volatile situation. These alliances, meant to deter aggression and maintain peace, ironically made war more likely. The interconnected commitments and promises between nations meant that a conflict involving one country could easily draw in others, turning a small dispute into a large-scale war.
On one side stood the Triple Alliance, formed in 1882, consisting of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. This alliance was created to provide mutual support and protection against potential threats from other European powers. This alliance aimed to counterbalance the growing power of France and Russia, who were seen as significant threats to the stability and security of the member nations. The Triple Alliance was a strategic move to ensure that these countries could defend themselves against any aggression.
On the other side was the Triple Entente, a counter-alliance formed in 1907 comprising France, Russia, and Great Britain. This alliance was a response to the perceived threat posed by the Triple Alliance and aimed to create a balance of power in Europe. This alliance sought to contain Germany's growing military might and ambitions. The members of the Triple Entente were determined to prevent Germany from becoming too powerful and disrupting the balance of power in Europe. These alliances created a climate of suspicion and mistrust, where any conflict between 2 nations threatened to drag in their allies. The intricate web of alliances meant that nations were constantly on edge, wary of each other's intentions and actions. This system of alliances meant that a seemingly isolated incident could quickly escalate into a continental war. The interconnected nature of these alliances ensured that once one nation was drawn into conflict, others would inevitably follow, leading to a widespread and devastating war.
The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in 1914 would tragically prove this point. This single event set off a chain reaction of alliances being activated, leading to the outbreak of World War I. The complex web of obligations and commitments entangled these nations. The intricate treaties and agreements made it almost impossible for any country to remain neutral or avoid being drawn into the conflict. It made it difficult for them to back down from the brink once the crisis began. The rigid alliance system and the pressure to honor commitments meant that diplomatic solutions were hard to achieve, and the path to war became almost inevitable.
Another significant factor contributing to the outbreak of World War I was the rampant militarism that gripped Europe in the early 20th century. Military spending soared as nations engaged in a dangerous arms race, building up their armies and navies to unprecedented levels.
Germany, in particular, underwent a period of rapid military expansion under Kaiser Wilhelm II. This militarization had profound consequences. It created a climate of fear and suspicion, where each nation viewed its neighbors as potential threats.
The glorification of military strength permeated society, influencing public opinion and making war seem not only inevitable but also glorious. Military leaders gained increasing influence within their governments. They often advocated for aggressive foreign policies, arguing that strength and preparedness were the only ways to ensure national security.
This militaristic mindset, coupled with the complex web of alliances, made Europe a powder keg waiting for a spark to ignite it.
Nationalism, a powerful force in the 19th and early 20th centuries, played a significant role in the outbreak of World War I. This ideology, emphasizing national pride and unity, fueled tensions and rivalries among European powers.
In the Balkans, a region known as the powder keg of Europe, nationalism was particularly potent. The Ottoman Empire, once a major power, was crumbling. This decline sparked nationalist movements among the empire's diverse ethnic groups who sought independence or unification with neighboring states.
Serbia in particular harbored ambitions to unite the South Slavs under its rule, a goal that brought it into direct conflict with Austria-Hungary.
Austria-Hungary, a multi-ethnic empire itself, feared the rise of Serbian nationalism. They saw it as a direct threat to their territorial integrity. This fear and mistrust created a volatile situation in the Balkans, where even a minor incident could trigger a wider conflict.
Section 5. Sarajevo, the spark that ignited the powder keg. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie on June 28, 1914 in Sarajevo, Bosnia, proved to be the spark that ignited the powder keg of Europe.
The assassination was carried out by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist associated with the Black Hand, a secret society committed to creating a greater Serbia. The assassination sent shockwaves through Europe. Austria-Hungary, outraged by the assassination of its heir apparent on its own soil, was determined to punish Serbia. They viewed the assassination as an attack on their very existence.
The assassination, while shocking, was not entirely unexpected. The Balkans had been a hotbed of tension and violence for years leading up to 1914. However, no one could have predicted the chain reaction it would set in motion. What began as a regional crisis quickly escalated into a global conflict.
Section 6. The July Crisis. A month of diplomatic failures. The month following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, known as the July Crisis, was a period of intense diplomatic activity and escalating tensions. Austria-Hungary, determined to crush Serbian nationalism, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, demanding concessions that were deliberately designed to be unacceptable.
Germany, bound by its alliance with Austria-Hungary, encouraged Vienna to take a hard line against Serbia. They issued a blank check of support, assuring Austria-Hungary that Germany would back them militarily if war broke out. Despite attempts by other European powers to mediate the crisis, the diplomatic efforts ultimately failed. The system of alliances, designed to prevent war, instead facilitated it.
Section 7. From regional conflict to world war. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914, exactly 1 month after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. This declaration of war triggered a chain reaction, as the complex web of alliances drew the great powers into the conflict.
Russia, bound by its alliance with Serbia, mobilized its army in support of the Serbs. Germany, fearing a two-front war against Russia in the east and France in the west, declared war on Russia on August 1, 1914. Germany then declared war on France, Russia's ally, on August 3, 1914, and invaded Belgium, a neutral country, to bypass French defenses. Great Britain, outraged by the violation of Belgian neutrality, declared war on Germany on August 4, 1914. Within a week, the great powers of Europe were at war, marking the beginning of World War I. Section 8. The Great War's Enduring Legacy. World War I was a watershed moment in human history, leaving an indelible mark on the 20th century and beyond. The war's consequences were profound and far-reaching, shaping the political, social, and economic landscape of the world for generations to come. The conflict, often referred to as the war to end all wars, fundamentally altered the course of history, influencing the lives of millions and the policies of nations. The war resulted in an estimated 40 million casualties, including both military personnel and civilians. It led to the collapse of empires, the redrawing of national boundaries, and the rise of new ideologies. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian and German empires crumbled, giving way to new nations and political structures. This massive loss of life and the subsequent geopolitical shifts created a ripple effect that would be felt for decades. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but sowed the seeds for future conflicts. The treaty's harsh terms imposed on Germany, including crippling reparations and territorial losses, fueled resentment and contributed to the rise of nationalism and extremism in Germany, setting the stage for World War II. The economic hardship and political instability that followed in Germany were direct results of the treaty's punitive measures, leading to a climate ripe for the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. World War I serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked nationalism, militarism, and the failure of diplomacy. It highlights the importance of international cooperation, communication, and understanding in preventing future conflicts. The League of Nations, though ultimately unsuccessful, was an early attempt to foster such cooperation. The lessons learned from World War I continue to resonate today, emphasizing the need for vigilance and proactive measures to maintain global peace and stability.